This is Christine Thompson with AM/FM Magazine. I'm here with Signe Olynyk and Bob Schultz from the movie Below Zero, in which Signe locked herself in a freezer for the script.
I had the worst case of writer's block that I've ever had in my life, and the only way I could get over it was to arrange to have myself physically locked in a meat freezer. So I started Googling slaughterhouses, meat coolers, just trying to come up with whatever I could to get my creative juices going again. And I came across this abandoned slaughterhouse in northern Alberta. I went there and asked the woman if she would lock me in and not let me out until I finished the script. So I spent 5 days in there. We filmed it on location in the same freezer that I wrote the script, and we have an amazing movie, I think.
So wait a minute, you're in a freezer. I hope you have a cell phone. How does she know you're finished?
Well, that was the other thing. Where we were filming, we actually cell phones didn't work there. They really didn't work. That's not just a story plot point. Cell phones didn't work there. I had an extension cable that ran under the door, so I was able to use a kettle and add hot water to, soups and that sort of thing, dry soups. And I mostly had crackers and granola bars and that sort of thing. And it was 5 days, an abandoned slaughterhouse. It really wasn't as bad as it sounds, though. It was more like camping than anything.
So when you finally finished the script, did you jump up and down and scream? Did you start banging on the door, "Let me out"?
I did, and I could not break that door down. Like, I had permission to do everything I could to try to get out. And I'm a big believer in research, which is why this was such a good experience to do this, because I learned things from doing it that, you do hear noises outside of the room, and yet I was supposed to be completely alone, and I was, but what if my character wasn't? And these are the sorts of things that, by having that experience, it helped me draw from that experience to influence the script. And one of the things, for example, there was a rubber stripping at the bottom of the door, and if I could pull that, I could just barely kind of wiggle my fingers a little bit, not completely out, but I started thinking, well, what if my character could actually get his hand out, and what would happen if he did? And those are the sorts of things that really help to influence the script. And I'm really glad that I went through that experience, because I think it helped to make the script more authentic. And it was a really amazing experience to do it.
Bob, what do you think about this? When she first came up with this idea, what did you say about it?
Lock her up.
Yeah, I couldn't have her locked up fast enough. No. When she came to me with this idea, I thought it was crazy, just like anybody else would, But Signe has always been a real believer in research, and this is the most researchy thing she's ever done. But it set a tone for the film, for the crew, and for production, which I found to be really important. I mean, Signe's dedication to stay in the meat cooler led to both of us sleeping at the slaughterhouse during production, as well as a bunch of our crew, our production designer and his crew and so on, in order to conserve as much of the budget as we could. It was very important to us to make sure that every nickel of our budget was on the screen. And when you're working 18, 19, 20-hour days, it's almost a waste to pay for a hotel room for the whole month that we were there. So
you all slept in the freezer?
We slept it was a very luxurious slaughterhouse. I had my own private freezer.
We actually converted a lot of the freezers into, one was our edit room. So we had one freezer, and none of them were operational, but it still was winter in Canada. So it was cold. But one of the rooms was actually our edit suite. Another room was our prop room. We had another room where we had a lot of our art departments stored up. So we just used our facility completely, every way we could. We did not have our lunches on site.
Yeah, although if we had, we probably would have saved a lot of money on catering.
I think everyone's vegetarian by now anyway.
Yeah, it turns you into a vegetarian living in the slaughterhouse for a little while.
Oh, I'm sure. Let's talk about the plot a little bit of the movie and the actors that were selected.
The story itself is about a writer who's got 5 days to get a script done, so he arranges to have himself locked in a meat freezer. And while he's there, the story that he's writing starts to actually come to life and happen to him. So we keep cutting back and forth between the reality of him arranging to be locked in this freezer, and things aren't quite the way they were supposed to be set up. For example, he's locked in this freezer, yet he was supposed to be completely alone, and he hears a noise, like an attack outside the room. He knows that someone else is there. He was supposed to have his food stocked in the freezer, and instead there's only, he's vegetarian, and there's only meat products in the freezer room. So things aren't the way they were supposed to be, and it's slowly getting colder. It was supposed to not be working. The freezer was supposed to be turned off. So you've got those things going on, the reality that he's living as he writes it, but you keep cutting back and forth between that and the story that he's actually writing. And pretty soon they start to blend and influence the other, and you're not really sure which is real anymore. And it's the kind of movie that I hope that people will go to a coffee shop or for drinks after and talk about and go, oh, well, I didn't notice that, and they'll have to see it again. And I think there's a lot of little things that we planted throughout that I think fans are really going to enjoy.
Yeah, and the selection of your actors, of course, you know, were very crucial to the way the movie came out. And how did you go through that process? How did you do that? Is that you, Bob?
Well, no, it was a combination of hard work, luck, and a commitment to one of the things we teach. Signe and I run the Great American Pitch Fest and Screenwriting Conference in LA, and we always teach people that it's critical to have relationships with people before you need them. You know, you don't want to be cold calling when you need somebody. So we spent 8 years talking to people, introducing ourselves, getting known by people who then introduce us to other people.
So, let me get this right. I'm supposed to lock you up.
Yeah. Basically, I just want to be locked in there and not be able to get out until I have the script done.
I called earlier. I'm looking for my friend.
Don't think you want to go touching that. You'd be in for the shock of your life.
Stop that!
Open the door, you fucking freak! Open the fucking door!
You like hide and seek? You'll like this game.
Oh, damn you! Where is my son?
Where is she?
You're not willing to explore where you are in life.
Oh.
You know what? This is exactly why I write alone.
Below Zero, dropping soon.
You know what they say when you're writing about monsters? You gotta be careful not to become one.